to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, baseball fans? Back at it with another New York Mets video, and I'll have a lot more Mets content up as the season gets into the fold and the winter meetings start coming up and we start getting rumors about free agents, things of that nature. I'll have a Mets roster breakdown once we get the full roster. And yeah, we'll get into that. But in this video, I am going to talk about the huge news in the baseball world, really in the sports world, the cheating that has come out of Houston. But before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Travis Conklin. One of my best subscribers has been asking me to do this video for quite some time. So here you go, Travis. I meant to have it up a couple of days ago. But this is a huge story in baseball. And basically, to sum it up, if you haven't heard, what the Houston Astros did was they used... Stealing signs is common knowledge in baseball. It happens. When it happens from the dugout, it's tolerated, right? You try to steal the pitch, that's coming from the pitcher, whether it be him tipping off his pitch, how he grips the ball in his mitt, things of that nature. But what the Astros apparently did was they used TVs to spy on what the catcher was signaling to the pitcher, whether it was a 2 for a curveball, 1 for a fastball, whatever it was. And then they had somebody in the stadium, and there's tons of videos on this on Twitter, make a bang sound. 1 if it was a curveball, 2 if it was a changeup, and he wouldn't make anything if it was a fastball, signaling to the batter what was coming. Of course, the Astros have been one of the best teams in baseball. They won a World Series. They went to the World Series this year over the last couple of seasons, and Carlos Beltran is right in the middle of it. He played for the Astros, and he has been shown on video as taking these signals and was one of the leaders, apparently, in this whole fiasco. And we all know baseball does not take cheating lightly. So the first question is, a Mets fan, are there going to be penalties to Carlos Beltran? And if there are, what the hell are the Mets going to do at the manager position? The Mets always find themselves in the middle of turmoil. They have the worst luck in the world because there's no way they could have known this was going to happen. And it happens like 2 weeks after they announced that Beltran is going to be the manager. Now, hopefully nothing happens to Beltran. Hopefully he gets to stay on as the Mets manager. But there are definitely going to be punishments thrown down. And I think there are going to be lifetime bans when you look at the history of the league, potentially to the Astros general manager, things of that nature. And we're going to get into it. But this is something that just cannot be tolerated, right? We all know that cheating goes on in all sports, but this is crossing the line. It just is. And I hope that they get the punishments that are coming to them. I don't think that they're going to revoke them of their World Series championship, but they certainly could give them take away draft picks, give them fines, things of that nature. And let's jump right into it. Here is one of the articles that was written about this situation, and in it, it mentions Beltran along with a few other former players that are now managers. 2 years ago, when the MLB investigators found that the Atlanta Braves had violated international signing rules from 2015 to 2017. So not exactly the same thing. It's not stealing signs, but it's cheating. They did something along the lines of cheating, bringing in international players. The league barred the general manager for the Braves for life. They barred the special assistant for life, for a year, and declared some of the prospects to be free agents and slashed the team's bonus allotment for international players. So the MLB does not play around, and I don't expect them to play around in this situation. And here's the part of the article that brought up Beltran. The league is trying to determine not just the nature of any possible infraction, but also who devised and ordered them. According to a person familiar with the investigation, that would seem to put general manager Jeff Luthnow, manager AJ Hinch, and other top officials at risk of suspension, depending on the findings. The league will seek or has already sought information from Boston Red Sox manager Alex Cora, the Red Sox coach Craig Bjornson, and Mets manager Carlos Beltran, who were all in uniform for the Astros in 2017. Cora as a bench coach, Bjornson as the bullpen coach, and Beltran as a player. But they are believed to be at much less risk of discipline than those who held top leadership roles in 2017. So hopefully that is the case for the Mets. Hopefully Carlos Beltran does not have a lifetime ban or have a suspension, because then the Mets got to go and look for another manager. And that, it's just another wrench thrown in the whole situation. But from all accounts, from what it sounds like they're going to Beltran more for information, to potentially go after Hinch and the general manager for the Houston Astros, more so than punish Beltran. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, what role Beltran actually had in the operation. It's all going to be, he said, she said type stuff. If I had to guess, it's going to be the guys at the top for the Astros that will lose their jobs and take serious penalties. I expect loss of draft picks. I expect heavy, heavy fines. I expect Major League Baseball to come down on them hard and to make them an example of what not to do going forward, because this cannot be tolerated. And who knows? The Astros may not be the only team that was doing this. I'm sure they're going to look back at footage and see if other teams were doing this in some way, shape, or form. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But as a Mets fan, I just hope Beltran stays on as a manager at this point. Like I said, it is widely known that players look for a competitive advantage in baseball and all sports. So it doesn't really surprise me that players were trying to steal signs. It does surprise me a little bit to the extent that the Astros took it. But we'll have to wait and see, like I said, how it all plays out. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.